When I lived in Tokyo during the summers, I used to take expeditions out to remote pockets of the city. My cramped third-floor loft apartment stood on the edge of the main line encircling the city center, jammed next to a trestle bridge that lifted the train tracks above ground. The trains passed so close to my apartment window that you could hear the tires rattling against the tracks on their way in. Like a rambunctious neighbor, the train was a recipe for insomnia, and so I tried to get out as often as I could. On weekends, my day would start at around 8:30 with a quick breakfast, a coffee from the nearby Starbucks, and a 5-minute walk to the station with a book in hand. About 20 to 30 minutes into the train ride, I'd get off and roam around the pachinko parlors, street festivals, secret bars, underground passages, and sketchy back alleys. I'd also observe the usual scatterings of shops, cafes, love hotels, and impossibly small residential homes. Sometimes, when I got tired, I'd park myself at a coffee shop and read my book until dusk, stealing glances at other patrons in the cafe and wondering what kinds of lives they led. Around dinner time, I'd duck out of the shop and look around for a nearby diner to close out my journey. I never went to the same place twice. My favorite were sushi restaurants, at least those with more than the usual tuna salmon yellowtail combo, which often have an option on the menu to let the chef choose your selection for you. In Japanese, it's called omakase, which literally means, "I'll leave it to you." But the word means more than that. It evokes a kind of calculated surrender to another, a leap of faith towards the unknown, and a willingness to relinquish control of a situation. Just as I'd consciously leave my weekends open for the unexpected surprises of the city, so I'd deliberately leave my dinners in the hands of the chef. Both were an exercise in willful ignorance. It is precisely this ability to will ignorance, to plan the unplanned, that I felt was stripped away from us during the pandemic. When we navigate public spaces, we're always one step away from the unknown. You never know what or who you might encounter when you turn the block. Now, the capacity for chance encounters is almost gone. Technology may have saved us from complete social deprivation, but it has yet to replicate a crucial dimension of social life: spontaneity. Today, I have a full schedule of Zoom meetings during my work hours and a call with my family before bed at 11. My social life, meticulously planned, has come to resemble my social media feeds, where every video is curated based on things I've already shown a liking to. There's almost no room for genuine discovery anymore, just minor, incremental modifications. We become prisoners of our own past selves. I found it odd during the first weeks of quarantine when I began suffering from what seemed like an isolation-induced depression. My actual social interactions actually increased during quarantine. I isolated with good friends and was in constant conversation with my old friends. But it's clear now that what I was missing isn't social connection. It was rather the unscheduled aspect of social encounters. When all your interactions are scheduled in advance, it's not only the social equivalent of discovering a new favorite food that goes missing. I'm also unable to offer some of the essentials of friendship. The moments that I've caught my friends and family at their most vulnerable, I was simply there for them, at the right place, at the right time. I'd like to think that spontaneous encounters will once again be the rule, not the exception. But even as the threat of the virus has subsided, the threat of the omakase life remains. The virus has made plain that we cannot plan and schedule our way around the vicissitudes of the world, but our societies are wired to try. Technology promises to exact more and more control over parts of the unknown, including our social lives. That Plato's main protagonist, Socrates, discusses almost all of his philosophy through unplanned meetups is no accident. The ancients were aware of the value of strange encounters. Take, for example, the opening lines of the Republic. I went down to the Piraeus yesterday with Glaucon, the son of Ariston, that I might offer up my prayers to the goddess, Bendis, the Thracian Artemis, and also because I wanted to see in what manner they would celebrate the festival, which was a new thing. Here, Plato, as with many of his dialogues, captures Socrates in his ritual habit of wandering into literally foreign places. Piraeus is a busy port city in the city of Athens, and in ancient Athens, ports were where you would meet foreigners. Plato makes that clear by highlighting that the festival is celebrating the pagan goddess Bendis, and that it was a new thing. Plato is deliberately placing Socrates out of his element. Later, he encounters Cephalus, a foreigner, from which he launches into his philosophical masterpiece. For Socrates, knowledge and truth exists at the cusp of the foreign and the unknown. The path to the good life, in other words, cuts through unfamiliar public spaces.